Well, a same-sex couple decides to give their 11-year-old son hormone blockers to stop the onset of his natural beginnings of puberty. This is 11-year-old Tommy, screen left, whom his parents now call Tammy. They want to give him more time to decide if he wants to be a boy or if he wants to be a girl. So they are giving him drugs that will allow him to do that in the future. Joined now by Dr. Keith Ablow, who's a psychiatrist and member of the Fox News Medical A-Team. Dr. Marty Makary is a physician and professor of public health at Johns Hopkins. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have you both here.
Thanks, Martha.
You know, this is a lesbian couple. They adopted this child, and they claim that from the earliest point in his life, you know, down to the fact that he was learning sign language and signed to one of the moms, "I am a girl." And she said, "No, you're not, Tommy, you're a boy." And he kept doing it over and over. "No, I am a girl." And they claim that since his earliest days, this is what he has wanted. Dr. Ablow, what do you think?
Here's what I think. First of all, I think we should remind ourselves from the outset, we're not looking to bully anyone. I'm reminded of the words of Abraham Lincoln, "with malice toward none." But now is the time, Martha, when we have to understand this issue. What's happening here? We have two women raising a child. He's adopted, and he's come to believe that he, too, is female. That argues for a complete psychological evaluation, not just of the boy, but of his parents as well, to see whether psychological forces are at play here to make him say such things. We need to do away with stigma and look at this as scientists and really understand what's happening, not make it a cultural debate, but a scientific one.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Makary, this child is, you know, has not started puberty. And to me, the idea, you know, when you think about what goes on in a child's body during these years, right? All of these natural things that are supposed to be evolving in your body. And then to make an arbitrary decision, and by arbitrary I don't mean, you know, willy-nilly, I mean, but a voluntary act to say, let's give this child these hormones. And that will prevent puberty. I mean, who knows what you're going to get into and bring on medically by undertaking this?
Yeah, Martha, you know, this is a confusing time for many kids. My concern is when we start to medicate children, as this child is being medicated with a growth hormone inhibitor, and we change their physiology. Anytime you change the natural physiology of a kid that's about to undergo puberty, there's going to be some health consequences. And, you know, when we give this medication in adults, we tell them it's a safe medication, but there's a small risk of blood clots, stroke, even potentially cancer. So there are concerns, and when we address as a society confusion and behavioral problems by simply medicating it as a reflex, that's a scary trend.
You know, I mean, there's nothing legally that can prevent this, Dr. Ablow, as irresponsible to, you know, this child when they're 18, 21, you know, will certainly have the choices that are open to them in today's society. But, you know, is this any form of irresponsible, at the very least, parenting that could be legislated in any way?
Well, here's the thing. It's very tough, and I agree with the other guests. It's very tough to reverse course. And this has been written about. There are people who undergo these transformations. They may regret it later. But when you're a boy who at 3 is taken at his word, signing to his adoptive female parents, "I am a girl too," and you then are dressed as a girl, and then you get hormone injections, it's tough to reverse course, even though they say, well, we'll stop the estrogen when he's 15 so he can decide. Well, maybe. I think it's time. Here's the thing. It's time for the President's Commission on Bioethical Concerns, just as with stem cells, to get involved here, summon the best minds from around the world to look at this issue, because the theory that people are born into the wrong bodies needs to be looked at scientifically. We need guidelines here for how to behave toward those young kids, particularly, who are at risk to be misinterpreted.
Yeah, you know, and as you point out, you know, obviously some of these issues are so complex and people are tormented throughout their lives with having these feelings of, you know, being born the wrong sex. But this child is so young, and that's what has raised all of these concerns about whether or not he has any choice, you know, in this matter. So thank you very much, Dr. Martin Makary, Dr. Keith Ablow, for weighing in on this very sensitive subject this morning.
Sensitive and serious, too, huh?